And the million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from the cold dead tree.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from the cold dead tree.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. It has been an absolutely crazy week. We have raids of an ex-president. We have a amazing turnout for the primaries last Tuesday. So much to get into. We're going to dissect it all. But of course, let's get down to the formalities. If you are new to the show, or if you are one of my new liberal friends on the other side that are watching or doing your research, I am Joe Vollano. I am your host, your guiding light, or in your case, your nightmare, trying to show the way of getting us through the craziness that our friends on the other side have caused. And we do that each and every week right here. But of course, this show only works best when you are involved. So if you want to call in, 203-679-9610, 203-679-9610, or you can email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. Or, of course, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, all those, you could join up on the message board. It is off and running. Now, I've been reading through a lot of the things in the paper, so I see that our friends on the other side, or my liberal friends here, do watch the show, so that is good. I'm glad you watch it. Hopefully you get educated on what's really going on, and maybe you see through your hatred for certain individuals, and maybe you could use some common sense and see the light and see that all of this is being done to distract from the fact that our country is headed into the crapper. Well, it's already in the crapper. And it's because of only one side. And it's not, and you can't blame Republicans for this one. But you could definitely blame our liberal friends, but they will never admit it. Whenever something's going wrong, they just throw one more distraction out there for us. So we're going to break it all down. So obviously the big story of the day, of the week, is the raid of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. And listen, Democrats have opened a whole new can of worms. This is unprecedented what they have decided, the route they have decided to do. Now, if anyone doesn't believe that the highest members of our government knew about this, not just Merrick Garland, not just right, all of them, even Joe Biden had to know about this. I can't imagine that anyone is going to let the FBI raid an ex-president's house without the president knowing. Now, I know a lot of people are going to turn and say, well, they're not supposed to tell us. Listen, this is beyond politics. People should be scared of what they've seen over the last week. Should be scared to death, because if they could do this to an ex-president, imagine what they could do to you and to me. This has really brought us to a point where we were divided before. This really, unless the FBI comes out and the Justice Department comes out with the affidavit saying, specifically showing the evidence that they had to justify a raid on an ex-president's house, we have turned, if they don't have that kind of proof, we have turned into a banana republic where you could use your Justice Department as a political tool to silence your opponents. That is where we're at today. Now, listen, we already know I don't want to say Democrats, liberals don't care. The ends justify the means. And their end game here is to make sure that Donald Trump could never run for office again. If no one believes that, then you have your head so far up your ass. The Democrats' game plan at the end of the day is to make sure Donald Trump cannot run for office. They are so scared of Donald Trump. And people should take notice of that. Why? Why is the Democrats so frightened of Donald Trump? And I think Donald Trump said it himself years ago. Liberals, their end game is not Donald Trump. It's us. We are the end game. Getting to each and every one of us. But unfortunately for them, they have to go through Donald Trump to get to us. And he understands that. They're not just scared of the one man. They're scared of all of us. And once they could get through him, then it's easy to get to the rest of us. And I think you see this with the $80 billion going to the IRS. Why do you need to double the size of the IRS? That is crazy. And if anyone thinks that they're going after the rich, you are delusional. The IRS goes after people that make under $75,000. That's the main target area for the IRS. And why is that? They do that because at that level, they're not hiring these lawyers and these accountants to go back to fight against them. These people can't afford it. And if anyone thinks they're going after the rich, no, the rich have too good of lawyers. The IRS doesn't want to spend that kind of money or waste that kind of time. It's easy to come after us. And a majority of the money in this country is not with the top earners. It's in the middle class. So if anyone doesn't think that this many agents, over 80,000 agents, is not going to be coming after us, you are delusional. And Republicans need to fight back. And the only way we do that is by taking over the House and the Senate in November. We are at a crossroads that really, if we do not take the correct path, which is getting away from liberal policies, this country is doomed. And I'll be the first to admit it. We are at a crossroads, and everybody needs to get their priorities straight on what they want to see happen. Do you want to continue down this road of high inflation, food shortages, supply shortages, high energy costs, high food costs? We're going to get into a story today. Healthcare plans in the state of Connecticut here, they're going to go up 20 to 30%. 20 to 30%. These healthcare plans here in Connecticut, they want to raise them. And everyone says, oh, we're so shocked by these numbers. Why? Why? I don't know why anyone in this state would be surprised. The House and the Senate is what passed these regulations on them that's forcing them to raise prices. They're putting unfunded mandates on these insurance companies. Who do you think pays for that in the end? Just like I always say, businesses don't pay taxes. They just pass them on to you and to me. Same thing with insurance companies. And when the insurance enforcement turns around and says, well, no, you can't raise them that high, they just cut the plan out. They just cut the plan and say, all right, well, I guess we're not doing this plan anymore then. So they're worried about people being able to afford it now. They're really not going to be able to afford it in the near future. And that is coming up in October when the new plans start taking place, or at least become available. But the problem is, these are all self-inflicted wounds on ourselves for electing progressives and liberals. This is what you get. Elections have consequences. And this is what you get. So nobody should be surprised by it. But we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. But this Trump raid, and I agree with Trump. Trump wants his documents back. Listen, the President of the United States has the ability to declassify anything he wants. Now, yes, it goes through a procedure. But that procedure was followed, according to his lawyers. And he said it multiple times. And in fact, we're going to go through the timeline here. In early June, that he made them fully aware of what documents they had and that they were declassified. That is his right. That is his constitutional right as the president to declassify anything he wants. It went through the process and they were declassified. this whole thing started really back in October of 2021. And this all started when Trump sued the January 6th committee to block them from getting the documents that he had because they're not entitled to them. And if anyone doesn't believe that this whole thing, the game plan for this whole thing, all this information is what the January 6th committee wants. They are desperately trying to find something, anything, to link Trump to any wrongdoing. Because again, the end game is to make sure he can never run for office again. So the January 6th committee is the ones who really want these documents. And if you don't believe that, I'm going to lead you to a story on August 13th, where House Democrats asked for intelligence review of Trump's handling of raided documents. And this is the part that's rich, because this is what they say. This is what Democrats are saying. U.S. intelligence should assess the national security damage caused by Donald Trump for storing classified documents at his Florida resort. I mean, are you kidding me? Did I ever hear anything about Hillary Clinton saving classified top secret documents on her own personal server? Not even a government server. It was on her personal server. And Adam Schiff has the guts to come out and say this? We need to assess the national security damage caused by Donald Trump? Donald Trump didn't have anything stored on his personal servers. He made sure that the Intelligence Committee and the National Archives knew exactly what he had. And they asked him, do us a favor, put one more lock on the door. Okay. They knew. And this is not disputed. That this is the series of events that happened. And that was on June 8th. That he was asked to put one more padlock on the door, and they did. And then August 8th, they raid Mar-a-Lago. If they were looking for certain documents, why didn't they just issue a subpoena? Just like they've done in past. Clinton, with everything he took that he had to give back, Barack Obama, George Bush, but why does Donald Trump get this kind of treatment? Why is it every time? And then you expect us to sit there and say, oh, well, we got to trust the FBI? Are you kidding me? We don't trust the FBI. No way. This is the same group that falsified documents to get a search warrant to spy on Donald Trump's campaign, where they had an insurance policy. God forbid Donald Trump should be elected. This is the FBI that we're supposed to trust. And then you got Congress, who puts not one impeachment trial, but two impeachment trials that equate to nothing. And then they're trying to tie him to January 6th. And that's what this is all about. This is very dangerous territory we're creeping on here. And the Justice Department, if they do not have solid evidence to justify raiding at 6 o'clock in the morning a president's residence, where you had the search warrant 3 days prior, if you felt that it was that important to get information, to get these documents, you wouldn't have waited. You would have gotten that search warrant and immediately executed it. Not to mention that the president wasn't even there. He wasn't even there. He was in New York. But yet we're supposed to trust? Now, you lost that trust 6 years ago. This whole thing is a political witch hunt. And it's not going to work. If anything, you're solidifying his support by his supporters even more. And a lot of Democrats are turning around and saying, what the hell is going on here? This is a last-ditch effort. This is a last-ditch effort. But at the end of the day, all they are going to do here is put Donald Trump back in the Oval Office. This is their Hail Mary. This is it. You saw it. And now they're waiting to see if it pays off. And at the end of the day, it won't. Just like all their other past investigations, none of this will lead to anything. Well, again, if you look at their supporters absolutely believe that they trust them on everything that they're doing right now. Everything that they're doing. If you're an anti-Trumper, you're loving this. You're loving this because you're blinded by your hatred for Donald Trump. But the independents that are watching this all play out are not going to stand by and let this happen. But this is the only thing the far left has in an attempt to stop Donald Trump from being president once again. And we're going to see where this leads. Because it is a scary, scary time we live in America, where we allow things like this to happen. And people tell you, trust your government. This is exactly why we don't trust our government. And this is what happens when you get a large bureaucracy and you don't have small government, small true oversight. But hopefully in November, we're going to get that. And we can do our part here by getting George Logan elected here in the 5th District, which is, Meriden out to Danbury, up to Cornwall and all those in the northwestern part of the state. We could do our part. And we get to do our part in November. But Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him, he always has been a force. He always will be a force. And he proved that his backing could go a long way. And we saw that last Tuesday. And I got to tell you, Republicans in this state are scared. Because if you're not a conservative and you're a rhino, you lost. You lost last Tuesday. And a lot of the people in the state party are scared of that. Because I don't think they have the guts to be able to stand up and say, Trump's right. Because they don't want to be seen as being unfriendly. But Trump did endorse last month, actually, it was the night of the raid, he endorsed Laura Levy for U.S. Senate. Now, first of all, I think Ms. Levy was going to win either way because I think she's just a better candidate. And I don't want to write. Listen, people sit there and go, well, Themis is electable. So is Levy. But at least I'll put my back in again with Levy because at the end of the day, at least I can sleep better at night knowing that I didn't put someone up or throw my name behind someone who's not a true conservative, who believes in taking your gun rights away, believes in killing babies. Sorry, I can't get behind that. And I know a lot of people have been trying to sit there and wait to see how this played out. Bob Stefanowski is the perfect example of that. He's been playing that, walking on that tightrope for a long time. And now it's time to put up or shut up. Because now you have true conservatives running. You have true conservatives. With Levy, you got Dominic. You have Dominic Rapini. These are good people that will bring stability back to our state and hopefully move it in the right direction. And I think Levy's win on Tuesday signaled to the Connecticut GOP that we're going to stick to our values and we're going to put that up front against any policies that liberals put out. Small government. Small government accountable to the people. And it's important to have that. And it's important to have oversight. Not only to businesses, but to cities and towns also. Because as we're about to go through again here in the city of Meriden, there needs to be oversight. There needs to be stringent oversight when it comes to where our money goes to and how it's spent. One being our Board of Ed. Two will be our city council and what they're doing, not only to their citizens, but to their police departments. Because as we're going to go through later on in the show, the CRB nominees have been announced. And does anyone remember what the mayor said and what the city council said? We're going to put together a fair group. We were going to put together a mix of political ideologies and backgrounds, and this is anything but. But we'll get to that later on in the show. Because a lot of promises were broken on this one. And reading through who's on this list tells me that our police department is in for a real rough time. But we'll get into that. So conservatives had a great day last Tuesday. I'm happy to see it. I'm glad we all came out. Whether or not it was because of Donald Trump or not, doesn't matter. And I don't believe that's even true. I don't even believe that's true. I think Laura Levy was going to win either way. Because at the end of the day, conservatives always go out and vote. True conservatives, those who care about their city, state, and their country, always go out and vote. And I honestly don't think there was any excitement behind Themis. at all. I mean, how could there be if you're a true Republican? How can you be excited about her? I can't. You can get excited about a Levy or a Lamage. And when you look at it, at the end of the day, conservatives, the conservative vote had almost 60%. Almost 60%. Now, if we could just get these people back out again in November, it'd be even better. I think we have an exciting group of individuals running this year. I think George Logan, I think the surprise, probably the surprise of this year will be George Logan. I truly believe George Logan will win the 5th Congressional District and bring it back to Republican hands. So for the first time since Nancy Johnson. I think George Logan is the man to do that. But I think, again, I think Connecticut Republicans in the establishment are definitely a little nervous this week because they don't know what to make of it. Conservatives, well, we already knew all along what was going to happen. And I congratulate all the winners in the primary. And I look forward to a good debate on principled issues for over the next, 87 days we have left? I look forward to it. I'm looking forward to debates. I'm hoping my opponent, Jen, I know you're listening. I know you have people listening. I want at least 3 or 4 debates. And I want town hall debates. I want the public to be able to come out and ask their questions. Now, I understand they can come here anytime they want. And I know your members are watching the show because obviously they write about it in the paper. You can write it, you can ask any question you want. But the people are going to have a right to know. And if you don't like our tax assessor now, you're not going to like my opponent. Melinda and Jen are 2 of the same people. She too believes that. My opponent believes also that most nonprofits should be taxed. At least that's what she said. That's what she said while she was taking an award of excellence from the Communist Party of Connecticut. That's right. That's what my opponent does. That's what my opponent does. She takes awards from the Communist Party of Connecticut, an excellence award. And she hates business and she hates nonprofits, especially big nonprofits. YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, Easter Seals. She's on the same page as Melinda, our tax assessor. She wants to tax the crap out of you. That's who we're up against. And I look forward to that, to these discussions. I can't wait for them. And I hope she agrees to a lot of debates because I think the people are very interested to see what's happening. And I'm sure they have a lot of questions. So I look forward, now that the primaries are behind us, the tickets are set, let's rock and roll. I think the more time we get in front of the people, the better. And I can't wait for these conversations. So we were just talking about our good liberal friends on the other side. And again, so in case you did not know, Connecticut health plans seek big raises, big rate hikes in 2023. So right now we have 3 insurance companies that work for work for the Connecticut Affordable Care Act and that exchange, where if you're low income, you could go there and get health insurance. And usually you're supposed to get it at a discount. So they're asking for anywhere from 9 to 30% increases in their policies. And the reason why they're asking for these policies is because the state of Connecticut legislators, so our good friends up at the House and the Senate, have passed legislation mandating that they provide certain coverages to certain people. Well, if you're going to have state mandated benefits, well, then somebody's got to pay for them. They were being paid for by the rescue plan, but they're set to expire. And at the end of the day, if they're going to expire, someone has to pick up the tab. Well, that's going to be you and everybody else. So since they're going to expire this year, they're not going to be available next year, all those rates are going to increase to pay for it. And then state legislators and state advocates are all up in arms. Well, how can this have happened? You knew damn well this was going to happen. You knew it was coming. But again, they're going to sit there and try to change that up and say, no. Don't look at us. Don't look at us. We're just trying to help. We're just trying to do our part to help. It's the evil insurance companies that are trying to gouge you. No, it's not. They're trying to stay in business. They're trying to make money for their shareholders. That's what they're trying to do. I love when legislators just try to sit there and say, I have clean hands here. No. No, you don't. And if they don't get these rate hikes, then they're going to drop these plans. And then at one time, we were down to one. A couple of years ago, we were down to one insurer that had a plan on the exchange. That's what we're going to get back to. So I don't know why anyone's jaw is hitting the floor. And I don't know why they're deeply concerned that people will go without coverage because of these high prices. The people you voted for put them there. And then, of course, the state attorney general wants to go after the insurance companies. Why doesn't the attorney general just for once go after the legislators? But, of course, business is always the enemy. And you are always the victim. And just as long as there's a villain and you are the victim, people still elect these idiots up at the state capitol. I don't get how people don't see what's happening right in front of their faces. It's crazy to me. So come October 1st, you're going to see these new rate increases. Or you're not going to see the plans at all. Let's get to some local stuff. Because I like local stuff. So obviously, like I said, it's on the agenda for tomorrow. So for all those know, we've been sitting there battling this civilian review board for a long time now. And when it passed the council, we were told it was going to be a fair, equal mix of Republicans, Democrats, so that we didn't have one view being put out there. So here's the list of everybody that's on here. And there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 people here. 2, 4, 5. Yep. We have 9 people. Can anyone tell me how many? Now, again, if you're going to be fair and equitable, can anyone tell me how many Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliated you would have on here? I mean, I would think if you're going to be fair, I would say there would be 3, 3, and 3. 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats, 3 unaffiliated. But of course, being in a heavily Democratic city, I would say realistically, maybe 2, 2, and 5 would probably be, 2 Republicans, 2 unaffiliated. Yeah, one Republican on here, 1 unaffiliated, and 7 Democrats. And not only 7 Democrats, 5 out of the 7 are friggin' lunatics. Lunatics. Totally anti-cop. Totally anti-cop. Now remember, take these liberals at their word. Mike Cardona, the chairman of the public safety, said that the beginning part of this, they are just a review for now. With this group of individuals and the crazy lunatics we have on the city council, as far as Jelks, Tomasetti, Cardona, Rhodey, with that group, I can guarantee you within the next 2 years, this will be much more than just a review. This is not anything near fair. And I'm looking through this list, and I'm sitting there wondering, what the hell do these people do? Because I'm trying to find out. There's supposed to be business people on here. I don't really see anyone that has a business on here. I see Black Lives Matter supporters that are anti-cop and love to put it on there. I love the vaxxer who totally hates the anti-vaxxer people. If you're not vaccinated, forget it. Then this guy don't want to know you. I'm going through this list. I see one. Listen, I love her. I love her to death. But one of the craziest liberals you're ever going to meet. This list is anything but fair. Anything but equal. This isn't even an attempt. And Bob, I know Councilman Williams listens to the show. If you're on here, how the hell did this happen? How the hell did this list come about? Because I didn't hear anybody on our side make a peep about this. Oh, you want? All right, I'll read the names. It's all public information. So Mark I apologize if I freaking hack up the names here. Mark DuPause, John Rush, Robert Rachetti, Nancy Burton, Paul Samuels, Margaret Hartman, Adam Notch, Dr. Evelyn Robles, and William Rios. So these are the 9 individuals. Mark, the first one, is the only Republican, and Rios is the only unaffiliated. The rest of them are Democrats. And like I said, 5 out of those 7 are radical Democrats. Radical. Where they will not put their biases aside for the betterment of the city. They are going to use this as a tool, as a vehicle to totally reshape our police department here in the city of Meriden. Oh, I said the same thing. Hartman, I was like, how the hell does that happen? But somebody has to explain to us how this list came to be. And Councilman Williams, if you're watching, either call in or type in explain how we got only one Republican and one unaffiliated on this list. And what were those conversations like? Because it's absolute nonsense. And I can see us having some major disagreements with this group in the very, very near future. And if you're a Republican or a We the People on the city council, you should be voting against this. You should be voting against this. So supposedly these individuals were picked between Kevin Scarpati, the mayor, Mike Cardona, and Bob Williams. At least that's how it was explained to us on how these individuals are going to be picked. And somebody needs to explain how you got 7 out of 9 are Democrats and 5 of them are crazy liberals. That's concerning. Because that is another broken promise. And anyone who believes that this is going to be a group of individuals that could put their biases aside is friggin' crazy. Again, is delusional. But again, a lot of liberals in this city are delusional. But that's the list, and it gets approved tomorrow. So I suggest everybody who can get to the city council meeting. I can't wait to get there tomorrow and go through this list with them. Because I did checks on every one of these people. And I can't wait to share that tomorrow with them. But at the end of the day, they don't care because they're just as crazy liberal as these guys are. So they're all buddies. It's absolutely crazy to me. But this is the society, this is where we're at in this city. But again, when you have an out of control city, the only way to stop it is from the state. The next level up. And that's why this November is so important. That's why this November is so important. Because I tell you what, when we get elected to the state senate, there is some oversight coming to this city. And there's plenty of ways to do that from the state level. Plenty of ways. I already talked about some of them last week and the week before. The Board of Ed, when we're elected, be ready for an audit. It's coming. I guarantee it to you. If you want to see transparency and accountability, you elect us. Because a forensic audit is coming to the Board of Ed. You're using a ton of state-funded state dollars. You're using a ton of state dollars. And state taxpayers have a right to know where that money's going. So Board of Ed, guarantee you, I can't wait to see you after November 8th. And we can start planning all that stuff out ahead of time. The city council with the CRB. I got to tell you, I'll be watching it very closely, especially from the state. And I'll be working with other state senators to make sure the police accountability bill is redone so that our police officers are not afraid to do their jobs. So we can make these places safe again. That will be my job as your state senator. Is to make sure our dollars, our state doc dollars are not being wasted. And making sure that our streets are safe and our neighborhoods are safe. And making sure that our police department has the tools they need. Not only in Meriden, but in Cheshire, Middletown, Middlefield. Make sure that they have the tools they need to do their job. and not have to worry about out of control city councils coming after them. And definitely shouldn't have to be worried about nonsense like this by CRBs who have no idea what it's like to do the job coming after them. Your state reps and your state senators have an obligation to the people they represent to make sure that the funds being put back into our communities is being used properly. And I take that job very seriously. Like I said, I am the only person running that has a proven track record of making sure that there is accountability and transparency in government. I don't get that, Sue. Dating a police officer, I don't know, maybe I missed something. I took a quick glance at your guys' thread here. Excuse me. But I guess I must have missed something. So, listen, if you can make the city council meeting tomorrow, please, I suggest you do so. It's at 6:30 at City Hall, 3rd floor. Make sure you go and make your voice heard and let them know. This is not fair and equitable. This is nothing but a rubber stamp for the absolutely crazy leftists on the city council to remake the police department in their own way, to micromanage the police department as they see fit. So make sure we go ahead and do that. Now, like I said, I started this last week. I was saying how I liked... Oh, we got a couple emails here. What do we got here for emails? People are throwing some emails in here at us. Let's see. What is your stance on all these so-called developers wanting to add more and more apartments to the city of Meriden? As always, this vote in the city council for more and more apartments has helped economic growth of the city of Meriden. Okay, it's a good question. Depending on what the housing is how I would look at it. Just as long as there's no tax abatements, if it's market rate, I'm for it, because those usually do not have a strain on the overall system. When you start talking about low income and affordable housing, which we have way too much as it is in this city, no, I would not be for that. So, and I don't know how the vote usually goes in city council, but again, I always have to take it on a case-by-case basis, but no. So, let's see, another one. Board of Ethics. I did read your comment before. I have to check with them and find out when mine is being heard. Because I do have I have an ethics complaint against Melinda and Sue for... I have one for Melinda and one for Sue that should be pending. And I will check on that with the ethics complaint, and I'll let you guys know in 2 weeks. So next week I will not be here. I'm sorry to say. Next weekend I have to be in Massachusetts for a wedding. And then Sunday night I will be at Fenway for the Bill Burr. Me and my son are going up for Bill Burr at Fenway Park for a comedy show. So I will not be here next week. I apologize. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about, but that means we'll just have a lot more to talk about in the following week. We cannot post pics during the Bill Burr. It's funny because and this is where we've come to, where they actually not take away your phones, but they put them in these pouches so that you can't use them during the whole thing. So, listen, if anyone wants a guest host, I know this question always comes up all the time. If somebody wants a guest host, I am not totally against it. We could chat if you want to a guest host. You could hit me up on a chat and you want to see my fashion statement on the wedding? Well, maybe I guess maybe I'll snap some pictures. I'm not a big picture taker, so but I guess we can snap some. I'll snap some pictures for you. But yeah, if you want a guest host, you can hit me up. I'm not totally against it. If we could work it out, then absolutely, I'll let someone else sit behind the microphone and do it. But you're in Maine. Well, he's in Maine, so he can't do it. So, but listen, we'll have a lot to talk about when I get back. Usually, Jim Gaffigan is a great comedian. I do like Jim Gaffigan. Great comedian. He does not compare it to Bill Burr, though. Bill Burr, Tom Segura, which Tom Segura I go and see in September, on September 3rd. He's up at Mohegan. Those are that's my style there. Jim Gaffigan, he is hilarious now. I do like listening to him. But yeah, so that's where I will be next week. So unless I find someone else to cover, I'll see you guys again on the 28th. So that's not too bad. Like I said, we'll have a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll end up being a little longer on that show as we probably normally do. But again, so just to recap, make sure everyone can make the city council meeting tomorrow night. Because I can't wait to hear you city councilors on how you feel about this. And I'm hoping you're going to vote against this. Not only because of who it is, just because the CRB just doesn't need to exist at all. I don't even think we need this list in order to vote against it. I think just in general, in the overall necessity of it, which there is none, which should be a reason why we're voting against it. So I look forward to that tomorrow. I like to see the justification on how 7 Democrats got onto this list and only 1 Republican. Especially since, again, and listen, they can hate me all they want. I'll put my credentials against anyone on this list, and I'm sure I'm sure I could kill them in my qualifications of being on this list. But we'll see what they have to say tomorrow. And again, congratulations to all the primary winners. Again, conservatives have come through. I'm happy about that. I'm sure some aren't, but you know what? They'll have to get over that. I was over at the Republican Unity picnic, and I noticed that some people were missing. And if we're supposed to be unified, I'm wondering why people like Themis wasn't there. I'm wondering why people like Peter Lamage I didn't see over there. It's time for Republicans to put up or shut up. We're either going to go together, we're going to move forward together as one, or we're not. So either way, we'll see how this all turns out. We got, 87 days left, or not even 79 days left before Election Day. So, like I said, hopefully we'll get a lot of people. We'll get a lot of people to call on Jan, my opponent, and myself to have a lot of debates. I think the more debates, the better. I look forward to it. I'll be meeting with a bunch of different groups. Need resolution to reject at next meeting. That's a 2-week vetting. Well, thank you, Dan. So what? So you vote for this in 2 weeks? You vote for these people in 2 weeks? Need resolution to reject at next meeting. Okay, well, hopefully you'll explain that one a little bit more later on. So we just got to make sure we do our part. It should be an exciting couple of months. I'm looking forward to it. But until then, I love each and every one of you. It's always an absolute pleasure being here. And until 2 weeks from today, I will see you all later. I love you. God bless you. And of course, as always, God bless this amazing country of ours. I love you guys, and I will see you all next week.
Emanation and a million faces formed together, made for elevation. I'm a soldier, won't surrender faith. This like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak and believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Up, 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 up. We're rising up, 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 up. Rising up, 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 up. We're rising up, 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 up. Rising up, 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 up. We're rising up, 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 up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance. You can't resist.